Every night, somewhere on the road, a truck driver calls home. He asks, "How are things?" She says, "Fine. Everything's fine." And he believes her, or he wants to believe her, which is not the same thing. I believed her for years. I took fine at face value because fine was easier than the alternative. Because the alternative, the real answer, the true answer, was something neither of us knew how to say out loud yet. This video is not about me. It is about her. About the woman who stays behind when the truck pulls out of the driveway. About what her life actually looks like from the inside. About the invisible weight that nobody talks about because the driver is the one who's away, and somehow that makes him the one with the harder life. He is not the only one with the harder life. This is what I wish I had understood 20 kilometers sooner. You've heard my Monday morning. The alarm at 3:45, the quiet house, the thermos, the truck pulling away in the dark. Now let me tell you her Monday morning. She wakes up when the door closes, not because the sound is loud, because she was not really sleeping. She rarely sleeps deeply on departure nights. There's a particular kind of half-sleep that comes when you share a bed with someone who leaves before dawn, where part of you is always listening for the moment the quiet changes. She lies there for a while. The bed is too big. It is always too big on Mondays. Then the children wake up, because the children don't know it's Monday in the way she knows it's Monday. For them, it is just a morning, with breakfast to make, school bags to find, a shoe that has disappeared since Friday and must be located in the next 12 minutes or everyone will be late. She does this alone, not as a complaint. She has done it hundreds of times. She is capable. She is competent. She is the person who holds this household together with a consistency that I, on the road, took completely for granted. But alone is alone. There is no one to hand the baby to while she makes the packed lunches. There is no one to check whether the older one has done their homework. There's no second adult in the house to share the 10,000 small decisions that parenthood requires before 8 a.m. By the time she gets to work, she has already been working for 2 hours. She has her own job. This is something that gets lost in the narrative of the truck driver's life. When people talk about the sacrifices a driver makes for his family, the implicit picture is a man works so his family can live comfortably. A wife at home, children cared for, the house maintained by her presence. That picture is 40 years out of date for most families. Her job is real. Her career matters to her. She has colleagues, deadlines, responsibilities that don't pause because her husband is in Belgium. So she works a full day, and then she comes home. And when she comes home, the second shift starts. Dinner, homework supervision, baths, bedtime, the argument between the children that needs mediating, the school note that needs a response, the parent-teacher meeting that she will attend alone and explain again that her husband drives trucks across Europe and couldn't make it, and watch the teacher's face do the small calculation that teachers' faces do. She does all of this, every weekday and every weekend too, because weekends don't pause the work of running a household and raising children. And then the children are in bed, and the house is quiet, and she sits down for the first time since she woke up. This is the moment she is most alone. Not lonely in a dramatic way, not crying into her hands, just sitting in a quiet house with the particular silence that comes when someone who should be there isn't. At some point, the phone rings. It's him. He asks how things are. She says, fine. He tells her about the road, something that happened at the border, a funny story about a driver he met, the weather somewhere in Germany. She listens. She asks the right questions. She laughs at the right moments. And while she's listening, she is also thinking about the boiler that has been making a noise for 3 days and she doesn't know if it's serious, about the parent-teacher meeting, about the older child who has been quiet lately in a way that feels different from normal quiet, about the bill she needs to pay and whether there is enough in the account this week. She does not mention any of this. Not because she is hiding it, because she has learned through long experience the texture of these phone calls. She knows that he is tired. She knows that he is far away and cannot do anything about the boiler from a motorway in Germany. She knows that telling him these things will worry him and accomplish nothing practical, and the guilt will make the call heavier for both of them. So she says fine. Everything's fine. And she means it as kindness. What she does not understand, what neither of them understood for a long time, is that this kindness is also a wall, that every fine is a brick, and that eventually the wall becomes so high that real conversation has to scale it just to reach the other side. I learned this from her after the wall had already been built for years. She said to me much later when we were trying to understand what had happened to us, "I stopped telling you things because I didn't want to add to your weight. But what I didn't realize was that every time I didn't tell you something real, I felt a little more alone. And after enough times, the alone felt normal." The alone felt normal. I have thought about those 4 words many times since she said them. Let me tell you some of the things she never said, the things that accumulated behind fine over years of Monday mornings and late-night calls and solo parent-teacher meetings. She never said, "I'm scared when I hear a noise in the house at night and there's no one here." She never said, "I resent your parents when they suggest I should be grateful for the money, because the money doesn't sit with me at 11 p.m. when the children are finally asleep." She never said, "There are days when I look at couples who both come home in the evening and I feel something so sharp it frightens me." She never said, "I have become a person who doesn't ask for help, not because I don't need it, but because I have learned not to need it, and I'm not sure I know how to undo that." She never said, "Sometimes I feel like a single parent who happens to have a husband." She never said these things because there was no right moment, because the calls were brief, because she was protecting him, because she was protecting herself, because saying these things out loud would have made them more real than she was ready for them to be. This is what the road does to the people left behind, not dramatically, not in one defining moment, in the slow, daily, invisible way that water shapes stone. You don't see it happening, and then one day the shape is completely different, and you can't remember what it looked like before. I am not telling you this story to make drivers feel guilty. Guilt is not useful here. I am telling you because I believe that most drivers who are in long-haul work are not thoughtless people. They are not choosing the road over their families. They are doing what they believe is necessary. And in doing so, they are often leaving behind someone who is managing more than anyone fully acknowledges. What I wish I had done, I wish I had asked different questions. Not, "How are things?" That question has fine built into it as the expected answer, but specific questions. What was the hardest thing about this week? Is there anything I can help with from the road? Is there anything you need from me right now, even if I can't physically be there? These questions require real answers. They signal that you want a real answer. They make fine feel inadequate in the best possible way. I wish I had been more honest about my own state, because the wall was built from both sides. I said fine too when I called. I performed okayness. And 2 people performing okayness at each other is not a marriage, it is a coordination exercise. I wish I had come home with more presence. Not gifts, not money, not grand gestures. Presence. An hour of full attention on the first evening back. A morning where you took the children so she could simply be still, without responsibility, without the second shift. These things cost nothing. They require only the decision to pay attention. If you are a driver watching this, think about the last time you asked a real question on a phone call home. Not, "How are things?" A real question. Think about the last time you came home and genuinely looked at the person who managed everything in your absence. Not to report in or receive a report, just to see them. She is not fine. She is managing. Those are different things. And if you are the partner watching this, the one who says fine on those late-night calls, I want you to know that you are seen here, that what you do is not invisible, even when it feels like it is. Even when the world's attention goes to the one on the road, you are holding something together, every day, quietly, without adequate acknowledgement. That matters, and it deserves to be said out loud. Leave a comment, both of you.